and both of you and Eku for the introduction of everything that we do at the SaGG Foundation. Everything that this is a Gambian project. We own this thing. It's a Gambian project. So now we're going to delve into why we are here today. We are looking into the role that fathers play in the life of their daughter and in society, especially in girls' education. That's why we are here. So tomorrow is Father's Day, you know, when we celebrate fathers and everything that they stand for, everything that they do, acknowledge them, you know, for the financial support, for the emotional support, you know, for the, you know, all the things that they do in the family and for the girls. We want to acknowledge that today, wishing you a very happy Father's Day. But today we
Thank
just
you.
want to go down into the topic. So if you just want to pinpoint, if you were asked who is a father, can you guys take, one of you take that? Who is a father?
Should I allow Ben to take that, being the elder?
Okay. Adam, and it's a very important question. A father, in my belief and concept, is not only a male child. It's not only the male figure in the family. Father is a responsibility. Some people in our society didn't have the opportunity to have their own biological fathers to be their father. Their uncles became their father. Some of them is their aunties that have the strength to come and support their parent, their mother, to be the father figure. I mean, these are very important things to remember. Yes, the gender is completely important. The biological nature is important, but we have to accept the circumstances can be different. I mean, some people are not fortunate to be brought up under two parents for one reason or the other. But what is important about is then is the responsibility here. If we are fortunate to be to have children, is our responsibility. If we are fortunate to be in a society and have the privilege and see a condition where we can step in to act as a father, that's our responsibility in society to step in as a father. As they said, a child is always brought up in a village. It's not just by the parent, it's society that brings up a child. That's why a father figure is responsibility, and that responsibility can be from being paternal and to other form of interventions that we take as a father in order to give another support to the mother for the maternal part to be complete. Yes, women are very strong and they can do a lot, but it would be easier and in fact to accomplish more because they have more responsibilities. They don't only have a responsibility to a child, but they have responsibility for themselves. They have responsibility for their own happiness. They have responsibility for their own health and other issues. That's why it's very important as a society, we step up to be role models and serve in position of responsibility, might be a father or a mother or something else. That's what father means to me.
Well, if I may jump in there, I think Ben has given us a very broad definition and comprehensive definition of who a father is. I mean, he's put it in a way that you can realize that, I mean, it's all about who takes up the role that they believe that a father should take up. And Ben has the definition that Ben is giving is like it has more to do with the role that someone, irrespective of your gender, plays. And that's a very good perspective for me, especially because I was looking at a very conservative point of view. I mean, but I've learned something new, like from what Ben have said right now. I mean, basically what I wanted to say was, I mean, I just wanted to take the conservative way that that some of us see it. I mean, even though I would allude to what Ben, I mean, the definition that Ben have given, because basically it cannot be better said, honestly. But going by the conservative definition, I think it's more. I would take it as being someone. I mean, who 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 like that is centered around the gender. The man, in the house, sort of like someone who is taking the responsibility of being the man in the house, like being that father figure to that girl child that everyone, I mean, has to support. That's our belief. So basically, I mean, that's my conservative way of seeing it. But I'm happy that Ben has given us a different perspective, which is honestly, I mean, impressive. And yes, that's who a father is.
Yes.
Coming back to that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think basically we have to also look at it in a point of view, like, I mean, the role of a father in making sure that your girl child, I mean, has that very good education, is supported of her life, be it education, I mean, her upbringing in general, like what we call training, home training, and all whatnot, is all encompassed. This is someone who tries to direct and get the best out of that girl child. That's who I call a father. Like,
Anita, yeah.
okay, Ben, go on.
Yes,
No,
go
no,
on then.
I just want to put a practical context to what I am saying, because I'm talking
Yes.
from my position, what I've experienced. In this sense, I can say that I had three fathers in my life at the same time. I was so fortunate. I have a father, my biological father, who was very business oriented, who lacks emotional intelligence. He's just a businessman. I have my father, younger brother, who I call, I mean, who was very poor, but very touching and had that emotional intelligence who was in my life. But I have an auntie who was more proactive. And because I was a difficult child, I remember to be the only person who have leapfrogged me and taken me back to the school.
Yeah.
See how different roles can be played. And I call these people because the reason my auntie intervened, my father wasn't around. He was busy in business. Why did my uncle intervene to give me those, love and attention? Because my father wasn't around. If my father had satisfied all this, there would not have been need. I never had the financial need for financial reasons. But this is the reason too why this SaGG is important, because we are trying to meet all this. We have an administrator who is on the ground, and I just had a contact with her recently, and the person doing the sponsor was even amazed the speed and the way she responded and handled issues.
Yes.
To make sure things are paid, to even give feedbacks. Oh, I've paid the fees, but we have so much hundreds left. And we have to take that hundreds and pass it on, let it be school fees for the girl.
Yes.
You see, things like that. You see, ensuring, because our administrator too is ensuring that this girl is attending school. Not only they pay, is attending school and is performing better. And to look into, if the girl happened to start to have problems in school, to look into that.
Yes.
I mean, this is the values we are trying to push in. That's why I said, I gave a broad definition about fatherhood.
Yes. So it's really important because, some girls will grow up without fathers. I grew up without my father, but unfortunately he died when I was like 1 year old or something like that. And I could say I had other fathers in my life, even though they were not in the male gender. But the definition that you have given has given me the opportunity to now widen my horizon and say, okay, father, I only used to think about the biological male thing, but now that you have said this, there are different things that is coming. It's just pricked and just giving me a new dimension of what this father thing is all about. Thank you so much for that, Ben. And now that we've seen who a father really is in the core, from what both yourself and Eku have said. Now, what is the benefit of this role that you have described? First to the family. First to the family.
Yeah, I would start with we have to admit. You see, it's very difficult. We are not perfect beings.
Yes.
And especially the environment we grow up, especially the culture we grow up. And until we accept that we have our deficiencies and we learn from the mistakes of our parents in order to be better parents, that's where we have to start. Then we can look at those responsibilities. Times have changed. You see, but responsibility should not change. But responsibility will be like added. You have to add to be more sophisticated. You have to add to be more, because now the child might be in the house, but might be thousands of miles away because of they have access to this, a telephone. You see, parenting become easier, but parenting become more complex. It's not only looking after the child, it's not out of the house and so on. It's about responsibility. And that responsibility to would, I would start from there on to frame the child. Then we come to where we nurture the child, with all those values and values that we want to see, especially a girl. In this context, within our culture, to see how do we do best. Because again, this is where we look at it. How did my father treat my sisters? How did my father even treat my mom? It's never the best practice. We might say all the good things about our parents, and it was not actually, again, to say that some of them, they are victims of culture itself. But we have this opportunity today to know better and look at those weaknesses and try to make them better. Did I have that problem? My elder sister was taken after school to be given to marriage. But it was not based on finance. It was based on culture, that they found a good man and is of age. Now she have to go to marry. Those are mistakes I will not do. But you will find that even in modern times, we might fail to put the same investment that we put in a boy than we should put in a girl. In most cases, it's a biasness we don't even realize. Because we have these aspirations about men, we have aspiration about boys, thinking that they are the ones that can be astronauts. They are on this. Even we discourage them in the field of science, field of other things, but we will think that this is what they can do. In fact, if we realize these weaknesses, what do? Is positively discriminate. In fact, push them, give them challenge, make them believe that they are the science partner. Until, not force them to do it, but make them believe, because already society have drafted that these are the jobs for women. These are the educational career for women. Typist used to be a typist and so on, secretary and all these things. You see, and being pushing, or the man should be the engineers, the man should be the scientists, or a girl should be a nurse, not a doctor. You see, these are things that we need role. As I said, we need to deal with these cultural baggages. Right? But again, then when we come to investment in time and everything and resources, to make sure we give them equal opportunity. And in certain case, it's about equity. Because we already know society have put them on the back burner. We have to make sure as a family, we champion them. Until we can do that in our households, in society, women can never be equal or given equal opportunity. We have to bring that equity, their voice, even their voice between G and Walter, I'm different Kadu, G and Walter, but we let our voice stop. But again, how do we bring up our voice? If we bring them up in that mentality, what do we expect them to treat another woman outside? Or treat your mom with respect? But your sister, you have to treat you this way. because if you are a man and they go out there dating or whatever it is, that's what they expect to be treated like. And because of two, we make our girl child to believe that they are subservient or I mean, not worthy to be respected or treated a certain way, or they don't need to have a voice on this. We don't expect to mute them at home and give them a voice outside. When they run back to say that they can handle it, we say, it's too late. It has to be done. The same responsibility, it would be that, and that's where we should go.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you, Ben, for that.
If I may come in there, Annetta, before you move on.
Yes, the role
I
of
think,
the father in the family first. We start with the
yes,
family. Go on.
yes, the role of the father in the family is one of guidance and making sure that, I mean, I don't want to say it this way. It will sound as if, I mean, that's the role of only men, like making sure that, I mean, the needs of the family is taken care of. That's not the role. That shouldn't be the role of the father alone. But in the society that we find ourselves, it's mostly that is what happened. And that brings me back to the fact that they of that cultural, I mean, ideology where they deprive girls from the beginning, of such opportunities. That's why we believe that men should be the providers in our families, and that's it, which is totally wrong. So it's a bit connected. Everything is a bit connected. One thing I also wanted to add on to what Mr. Suarez was just saying is the fact that there are some compelling reasons, uh, like for example, economic reasons. Like I could remember in those days, you have people like for example, people that they call semesters come from Europe, come back home, and then they see a girl. The girl might be from a very disadvantaged family, like very poor. I mean, and they don't even have to do much effort. And it's like they will ask whatever girl it is, even if she's school going age, they will ask her to, if the semester wants her, it's like she's going to I mean marry him. It's basically like that, which is something that I mean this is where SAGG sponsor a Gambian girl comes into play right now. That's the role that we're trying to do. And I wanted to just highlight that. I mean, you don't have to give your girl child to anyone based on those reasons. You have organizations like Sponsor a Gambian Girl who can help in making sure that girls achieve their dream of being educated. Don't give them away. That's totally wrong. These are future ministers, future engineers, future all the careers that you can think of, lawyers, all the careers that we think of. I mean, don't give them away. If you do, you're depriving our country of lawyers, engineers, doctors, nurses, and all whatnot. That's why, I mean, that's totally wrong. And that's why we have organizations such as Sponsor a Gambian Girl. And I wanted to highlight that basically. I mean, these are things that we have seen during those days. I mean, like you gave an example of, I mean, Ben gave an example of how he was brought up. Like, I mean, regardless of the gender that was acting on his behalf, like acting as the father. Like he mentioned his aunt, his uncle, I mean, and his biological father. You also you mentioned how you came to realize that, I mean, fatherhood doesn't only mean the man, the biological father, and it stops there. No, it goes beyond that. I remember in those days, like when Ben mentioned that and you said something, I remember our late grandmom, Auntie Lily. I mean, she was like, look, all of them were jigen bumungur.
Oh, yeah.
And the same thing applies to me as well. I mean, my dad died early. I was about 14, 15. I mean, I was raised by my mom. I was raised by my mom. And why wouldn't I call my mom both mom and dad because of what she nurtured in me? Of course I would. She's done everything that my father was supposed to do in his absence. She's done basically everything. And the role coming back to your question, the role of the father in that these are things that needs to be done. like the girl child, I'll be very, tight on the topic now. The girl child, one, I believe, needs to be protected.
Mhm.
They need to be protected. They don't need to be given any special treatment because they should be given equal. What all that we are saying is give them equal opportunity, equal treatment, and see how they will shine in society. Simple as that. We know that we don't have more capacity than them. You're a girl, Anita, for example. I'll take you as an example. You've done wonders. You've achieved. Like it's not like I'm satisfied, but it's like you've achieved so much with your young life. And basically, any other girl, I can name examples in Gambia, from Gambia. They've done so much, the Jahad Dukures, the Satan Navanes, and all whatnot. These people have done so much. And, who are we to say that girls don't have the capacity? It's something, I think it's just to get that mindset out of our people and make them understand that the girl child has to be protected, has to be provided for whilst they're going to school. Because this thing brings me to one thing. If some of these things that you're seeing right now in social media, girls being, exploited and all whatnot, comes back to this thing. If they don't have the attention, the protection, and provided for at home, I mean, they go out there. There are people, bad people out there who will do everything to exploit them in whatever way they can. And this is where we have to make sure that as a father, be it like the biological father, Jigen Bumungor, your mom, your aunties, or whatever, these are the things, this is where they have to come in and make sure that these girls are protected at all costs without
Yeah,
any form of fear. So basically,
amazing.
this is what we need in our
Anita,
for the
Mhm.
girl child. I mean, and trust me, I have a young daughter, and
Yes.
I can't
Mhm.
imagine in my wildest dream
Yes.
anything happening to her in
Yes.
any form of this
Mhm.
kind.
Mhm.
That would really get me crazy. I wouldn't want to live to see that, honestly.
Yeah. So
Anita,
that's yes. Ben, you
can I,
wanna
I
come
mean,
there?
yeah,
Yes. Come.
just want to come in there. He touched on the supporting Gambian girl. This is, I noticed from your comment back from Gambia, with some of the content that you came with, the videos that you came with, and this is the important bit. When he talked about this grandmother, you realize that the most successful homes are driven by women. And because of cultural issues, what happens is even the women have to master. If it is financial, culturally, even if the women have more access to finances, you have to make sure you turn that finance to be the man's finances. Because of a society would not want to be seen as the woman earning more or having more access to finance than the husband. When it comes to decision making, the woman might even be the thinker and the everything, but she has to put it through the man in order for it to come out in society to see it. You see, there's some beauty of that, of showing how we compromise in a relationship. But what eventually happens is it was overdone to be sense that women have already been seen taking the back seat. Now, when we expect to see national leaders as women, we don't see them. What we said, okay, now if we're going to organize something, okay, let's make sure the vice president is a woman. We never make sure the president is a woman because that's the mindset we have. But now, why did I say this? Bring it from there on. Look at the issue with the girls, as I said, the content, because I followed the development from when they first got contact with the organization side. Their confidence level, I mean, and you hear those girls coming is people that speak over on media or address forums. No, it's not an easy thing to do. But for the underprivileged girl to stand up in front of the cameras and articulate themselves as if they were addressing the United Nations, Those people, their horizons have already widened. And you see them project themselves. They were not thinking about now. They were thinking about the future. And to know that in 2 years, or some of them even 1 year, their life have been transformed because of someone have taken time to support, and support by giving a reasonable amount for their education. What this education does is not about them passing their exams. It's to mold them as young girls to be grown-up women. That's why I want to emphasize again, the reasons why most of our girls would fall for victims, by predators coming from either the diaspora or the big boss in the office or people in society, because they don't have that confidence, because they don't know themselves. They don't know they have their self-value. But in the Sponsor a Gambian Girl program, this is what is entailed. And we make, as I said, we make sure every penny is going directly to the girl. No administration costs. We know how big organizations work here. That claim to sponsor or organize Africans and sponsor them. We know how it works. How much of your contribution goes to this thing is a little. But we said 100% of what you give will go straight to look after this girl. But it encouraged us again to do the exhibit, the mentoring, the structures, and to give them that confidence to have that horizon to look for. And the important about this is these girls, most girls that would have problems are the most intelligent because of they are so smart, but they don't have the structure to guide them. They can easily be magnetized to do something wrong. And we, as society is, you would just have to do a little wrong and you'll be rid of, because of women are seen as property. But men, we can do hundreds of wrongs and still be rehabilitated. That's why it's earlier to capture them and to make sure they are not damaged by society before they go. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity again.
Yes, thank you so much, Ben and Eku, for that. So far,